Meu nome é Cairo Santos e eu sou kicker e único brasileiro jogando na NFL. Cada chute, cada jarda conquistada, cada passo me levou para mais perto dos meus sonhos. Agora, a cada R$200 em compras com seu Visa cadastrado, você tem a chance de ficar mais perto do sonho de assistir ao Super Bowl 59. E usando o seu cartão de débito, você ainda concorre a prêmios diários de até R$1.000. Não importa o tamanho do seu sonho, dê o primeiro passo. Visa, apoiando seus passos aonde você quiser chegar.
Sair da escola já com uma formação profissional no currículo? Parece bom demais pra ser verdade, né? Pois é. No ensino técnico do Senac, isso é possível. É ensino médio junto com formação técnica, que acontece durante os 3 anos. Lá, eles usam metodologia para projetos, desenvolvendo competências como resolução de problemas, pensamento crítico e colaboração, além de valores éticos e sustentáveis. Quer saber? Senac. Acesse sp.senac.br/ensino médio e saiba mais.
Não é tempo técnico, mas é intervalo aqui no podcast. Já imaginou se seu time tivesse um seguro para não perder nunca? Pois é, isso não existe. Mas com a Zurich Seguros, quem não perde nunca é você. Na Zurich Seguros, os planos se adequam às suas necessidades em qualquer momento da sua vida. Seja seguro de auto, residência, vida e muito mais. Diferente de alguns times, na Zurich Seguros você pode confiar. Para saber mais, acesse zurich.com.br ou consulte seu corretor.
It's that week that we've been waiting on since training camp. GBPK.
PK all day.
We smoking a Packers pack Sunday on the Day of Homies. But before we get into that, the Bears didn't do us any favors with this type of week leading into this game, because it's a lot going on. This is
Too much.
Too much. This is not the vibe you want to have going into the biggest game of the year.
Toxic. Real toxic.
Let's start at the top. After we lost that dumbass game last week, and we again called for the heads of Eberflus, Waldron, and maybe some others, maybe even Poles. Eberflus had his press conference on Monday. He said there was an evaluation process on what they were going to do on the offense, maybe even, as far as offensive coordinator, maybe even offensive play calling, right? Tuesday, it was announced that Shane Waldron was getting let go, fired from the offensive coordinator position of the Chicago Bears 9 games into the season. Taking his place is Thomas Brown, the passing game coordinator for the Bears, and he had the interim tag of offensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers last year as well. So he's not inexperienced like Luke Getsy was, and he's young and can probably have some innovative spirit in his play design and his play calling. He is from the McVay tree. So when I say he's young, he's not like Shane Waldron, a little more rigid, a little more basic. Even though Shane Waldron is from the Andy Reid tree, I remember that correctly.
Is Shane Waldron from the Andy Reid? That I don't know. I don't know what tree he was, but he needs to go back up and never come back down.
Start right there. Thomas Brown, are you optimistic now that we have a new OC, or at least an interim OC that we moved on from Shane Brown, or are you less optimistic about the outlook for the Bears offense?
I would describe it more as relieved, because I know Waldron won't be back for a second year. That's the only thing. I don't have any expectations out of Brown. There's not really a lot to go on with him. I mean, last year he took over a dysfunctional Carolina Panthers offense with a lack of talent. So it's hard to judge a guy because there's not a lot you could do. He was a passing game coordinator from here. The passing game was not impressive. So I don't have a huge vote of confidence. I don't have a lot of confidence in Thomas Brown. I'm just relieved that Shane Waldron will no longer be the play caller here, and that we're one step closer to clearing out this coaching staff.
Are there some things that he can do that you could take as, okay, this is a step to the right direction? We've got 7 weeks left in the season.
Yeah.
weeks left in the season. But is there some things that he can do as the play caller of the offense, as the de facto coach of the offense, that will give you that could have the Bears 2024 report card pointing up from an offensive standpoint?
I think the best thing he could do is hold players accountable. Um, not make stupid calls, not get too. Make sure guys are giving effort. Make sure they have attention to detail, because that's the first thing we need to fix. The snap penalties are ridiculous. We're not good enough for ourselves. I mean, no team really is. Giving up yards, giving up downs. If he can clean that up, that's a step in the right direction. So that's what he could do first and foremost. Before getting to any exquisite or dynamic play calling, just make sure guys aren't hurting themselves. We already have to go up against the opposing team's defense. We don't need to go up against ourselves and the opposing team defense.
Facts. I'm with you there. I think if nothing else changes, if we can just fix the negative plays, I'm happy. I would take that as a win. We got too many pre-snap penalties, as you said. We got I think we have 19 on the season. That's third most out of all the NFL. The sacks as they're piling
More
up.
to a game.
Yeah. The plays that go for negative yards. If we can clean that up, I'll be happy. And to go back on that last part, the plays that go for negative yardage, can we not call plays that make no sense for down and distance? Example: if you want to throw a hot to DJ because his cornerback is playing off, fine, let's do that. But let that not be 3rd and 5
or 4th and 1.
Fourth and one. I'll
as we did on the Commanders game.
But see, that one, it was enough space in between the defender and DJ that by the time the ball got there, they can make up ground. If you're going to do that, if you're going to call that play out of sequence, make sure. Well, I just don't want calling plays like that out of sequence. That's not a third and short, third and mid. Definitely not a 4th down play. So if we can just do those two things, get away from the ridiculous play calling and clean up some of the, as you said, clean up some of the negative play calling, I'm good with it. As always, you definitely want to hold players accountable. We didn't see a report, but it was reported that Keenan Allen, the knock that he had on Shane Waldron was that he was too nice, not holding players accountable all the way from the back in training camp, probably before that. So he was confused as to why he wasn't fired.
Ironically, Mr. Keenan dropping all the passes, maybe he needs to be held accountable. Did you leave your fingers in Los Angeles? Did you leave your hands there too?
That's something they definitely need to bring up. Like, hey, bro, you're the vet. You're supposed to be steady. You're supposed to be one that Caleb depends on these 4th downs. We need you to catch these passes. We need you to convert. Also, I'm gonna say it. We need certain players to not have tantrums on the field. Looking at you, DJ Moore.
That's not good for team morale and energy. Laying on the turf, slamming the ground, snatching your chin strap off, tweaking your ankle, and staying out of bounds. I mean, here's the thing. Yes, if you go out of bounds, you're not eligible to be the first player to catch a pass. Yes, you're not eligible to come back in and be the first player to touch the ball. You can still be used as a blocker. You know what I'm saying? You can still be used as a decoy. You don't want to leave your team 11 on 10. So just because you might have stepped out of bounds does not mean you shouldn't be in there pulling with your guys, pulling from the same end of the rope, still in there fighting. DJ, you got to do better, man. You wear a C. You wear that C on your chest. So you are the tone setter. You have to be that guy. You have to be that guy even when things are going wrong. You have to put on the good soldier face. You have to keep the team optimism because they're looking towards you. Our leader can't show cracks.
that was just one of the issues that faced the Bears this week. But segueing from that, the leader has to be the face of the team, and everybody has to take the cues from him. There was a report the same day that Shane Waldron got fired that a lot of veterans, let me not say a lot, because I don't think there was any. It wasn't very it wasn't quantified, the report, but there were some
very specific.
No, but there were some veterans allegedly petitioning for Caleb to be benched. I'll say this: that's a non-starter. You cannot bench the franchise. I don't care how bad he's playing in his 3-game stretch. That's a point of no return. If he has to be benched, then that becomes a lost season. That becomes everybody needs to get fired today.
How many times do you see a top draft pick at quarterback not come off the bench, as in he's not the starter from week 1 and then becomes a starter? How many times do you see a top quarterback come in, start, get benched, and then resurrect himself to have a good career? You got to think about that. That doesn't happen often, and I can't think of when it has happened. I mean, at least not in recent memory. You've had Zach Wilson, Mitch Trubisky, Trey Lance. This is pretty much the kiss of death. I don't think you want to bench Caleb. I don't think there's anything that can be gained from it. I don't think you have a quarterback sitting behind him that is better than him. So I just don't feel like that is the thing you want to do in player development. And I think it's even ridiculous that Matt Eberflus sat in front of a podium and suggested that the evaluation of quarterback is a week-to-week thing. That's not how you stand in solidarity with your team. And that's definitely not what you want to show. Eberflus is doing everything he can to end up in the unemployment office. And maybe that's where he wants to be. I don't know if that's where he wants to be with this new administration coming in, because guess what, buddy? There's going to be no hands for anybody. Maybe even if you don't have hands. But it's another story. I enjoy hearing Silverman. I don't know if there was some misdirection that he was led astray on this report, because Brad Diggs is probably one of the most respected reporters in Chicago when it comes to news, and he said that's absolutely not true. So a couple guys with a little bit more pull, a little bit closer to the club, have denied that veterans came forward and asked for Caleb to get benched.
So it's cap. No one's asking for that.
If you force me to answer the way, I would say cap. And today I read it, and this story is gaining some legs, that it's Travis Bajan behind the leaking the rumors or creating the narrative that players want Tyson to start.
I can't believe that. I can't believe it. You
don't want to believe it, or you can't believe it.
Can I say both?
You can say both.
I don't want to believe it, because I cannot believe that our quarterback room is that openly toxic.
Let me ask you a question. If your son is a backup quarterback somewhere, and you have the personality and the braggadocio that a Travis Bajan has, and you see the starting quarterback maybe struggling, and you want your poor boy to get in there, and maybe you think he's not been given a fair chance because he's a free agent, and that damn DEI is at it again. Could you see yourself maybe leaking or getting overexcited or embellishing a story that veterans want Caleb to start? Maybe Tyson came home and said, "Man, Dad, I was on the sideline. Things aren't going good. There was an errant pass, and somebody looked at me. One of my teammates looked at me and said, 'Damn, Tyson, maybe you should be in there.'" And then he told Travis, and Travis ran with it. You know how things happen on the sideline. You play sports. You've been in a workplace. You know when things are going bad, people have a gloom and doom type outlook, and it might just be passing thought, you know. And then it was passed to Tyson, and somebody really didn't mean it, and then Tyson passed it to Travis, and maybe he didn't, but Travis maybe definitely meant it, and he wants to see his boy make Paul proud. I'm just saying.
So you're saying it's possible?
I'm saying it's very possible.
Mm.
As a father with a son in sports, we get radical ideas sometimes. We want our son to be the best on the team, and we want our son to get every opportunity. The bias starts with your father. And I'm not mad at Travis if he did it. I'm just if he thinks. I'm sorry. I'm not mad at Travis if he thinks his son Tyson deserves to start somewhere. I'm just mad that he would go to such lengths to suggest that he should start here. You know what it is. Your son is undrafted. The chosen one is number one. We're not moving off the chosen one that soon for your son who has a career touchdown to interception ratio of 1-2. Got to show me a little something else. Jaquan Brisker being placed on IR. He's already missed, 4 games. So we're going to do 8 games for concussion, which is scary. That's the brain. I'd rather it be ambiguous about tendonitis like C-Mac or shoulder. You can't do anything anywhere at any time without a brain.
Well, I mean, that's not true. That's not true. I mean, there was the Tin Man in Wizard of Oz, the president-elect. You know what? I'm getting off track. I'm getting off track. Go on. What you were saying.
So this is troubling that not only is he missing a 5th game, but he's hitting IR. So he's nowhere near getting back to the baseline. This is that man's. I mean, beyond being a huge fan of Jaquan Brisker, because he's the best all-around safety I've seen in Chicago since Mike Brown, who also had a problem staying on the field. It's almost like the city is cursed, man. Like, we get a special safety about 16, 17 years after having another special safety. Well, actually, Mike Brown was drafted. I think he was drafted in the same class as Urlacher. And I don't know if that's 99 or 2000. So 20 some odd years. Last time he played with the Bears was 2007. But this is troubling because Jaquan Brisker is not only a beloved Bear, he's a guy that brings energy. If you remember the Rams game when we were trailing, I mean, he kind of was the spark. He had the interception where he stepped out of bounds, but still, even though the interception was called back, he still broke up a play. Then he had a huge sack, a huge tackle, then a huge interception in the game. He just brought energy on that defensive side of the field. And then he did the same thing the last time we seen him when he forced a fumble in the Jaguars game. He's a difference maker. And besides that, he is a human. So seeing him missing time because of concussion, that's scary. I'd rather it be any other part of the body. Well, hey, this injury is aggravated. He's still a healthy, functioning human being. Maybe he's just got to strengthen in the off season, get surgery. So that's scary.
Yeah, I don't want to even think about the possibility of whether his career is in danger now, because after you say it, he's already missed 4 games because they're doing an evaluation process. Like, yeah, he's still a little sensitive. He's not ready yet. But you know what?
And then he also had the bye. Remember, he had the bye also. Right. So we're talking an extended break.
So what this tells me is that in their evaluation, he's not close. You put him on IR, it's like, man, let's check back in a month. We'll see. Yeah, that's scary for bro, man. Speedy recovery, because definitely your career is in jeopardy. And
Luke Kuechly was one of the best linebackers we've seen in the century. We know how many seasons he has shortened due to concussions, and He retired early. I don't. It wasn't. Was it a concussion that caused him to retire early,
I don't think a
or did he
concussion.
just
Yeah, I
right?
don't
But
think
he
it was a
just left the
concussion that
game early.
forced him. Right. Yeah, that was.
But I
He
just
just
feel
left.
like all the concussions had something to do with him retiring before 30.
Yeah, I agree.
He probably thought about it. So I mean, yeah, while the concussion wasn't necessarily the thing that forced him to retire, I tend to strongly believe that his battles with concussions are one of the factors in him leaving the game so early. So I don't even think I think Luke only played 8 seasons, right?
Was it 8? It might have. I would think it was
7.
less than that. Yeah.
Yes, he didn't make it to 30. I think he retired at 29, and he had a short, brilliant career. I think he was
Yeah.
a first team All Pro maybe 4 times, 5 times.
Something like
That's
that.
a
He was
lot of
dominant.
that's
He was
a
very dominant.
that is a lot of times for even the best of players to be 4 or 5 times first team All Pro.
Yeah, back when Carolina was good.
The Cam Newton, Luke Kuechly days.
CMC days.
Yeah, I forgot. Seeing, geez, Carolina had a lot of talent to not win the Super Bowl.
Well, they got close. Cam didn't want
Yeah,
to
they did.
Cam didn't want to jump on that fumble.
I know that's going to be the thing that we all remember, but there were other plays that led to them not winning besides the Cam not jumping on the fumble. But that's going to be remembered.
I mean, that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Get well soon, Jaquan. So we do have a game to play this week. Bears versus Green Bay. Them ugly, cheese-eating rat bastards from Wisconsin. Real quick, Q, what in Wisconsin do you like?
I'm lactose intolerant, so I can't even say the dairy that comes out of there. Maybe Giannis.
Well, what's his record against the Bulls?
Probably favorable.
I don't think most people like Giannis. I mean, they might respect him. I don't know.
Oh, okay, that's better. You're right. He's a cocky, arrogant little jerk. I mean, I remember he was fighting with the Pacers about a basketball or something. I don't know if there's anything to like about Wisconsin. I don't even know why Wisconsin's part of the United States. They're north. They border Canada. Why not just let Canada have them?
Canada.
We can let Canada have them, and we can take Toronto as part of U.S. territory. I'd make that trade anytime.
That's a good trade. In fact, let's do a double trade. Let's get Canada to go ahead and annex Wisconsin, and we could get Cuba to annex Florida, and we cooking. We cooking.
I'd be fine with that.
And make Puerto Rico the 50th state.
Make Puerto Rico great again. I like it.
So from a game standpoint, it's not pretty. The Bears are coming in 3-game losing streak. The Packers, they're coming in. I think they're on a 2-game losing streak, or they just lost the last game they played before the bye. Jordan Love looked terrible. Jordan Love has looked pretty sus. He looked pretty mid all season, to be honest with you, man.
He is on a roller coaster. There are times where I watch Packers and he makes incredible plays. I'm like, there's 3 or 4 quarterbacks with that type of athleticism and arm talent who make that play. And then he turns around and he tosses it right to a defensive back. And just, he resembles, I heard he's a Brett Favre fan, and he plays like a Brett Favre fan.
Oh. If you told me he played like a Brett Favre in this era, I'm like, we should win this game. We could go ahead and wrap this show up now. If he played, because Brett Favre would not succeed. A 3-time MVP, not in this era. Nope. You could do that in the 90s. Can't do it now. But for me, Jordan Love, he's playing hurt. He's got the knee injury that he came back too early from, and he's complicated that more by
Didn't he have a groin too?
Yeah, he pulled his groin. You got to believe that those two things are connected, right? Those two things are, yeah. He coming back too early for that knee injury. Now he's grabbed another lower body injury. And I think that's led to some of his shaky play. He's not set in the pocket. His receivers
He's always been a little bit of a risk taker, though. Okay. Jordan's always been a little bit of a risk taker.
And it's coming back to bite him this year. I mean, they like that in Green Bay. They like risky guys. What's the Bears' path to winning this game? I think we have to force a middling game from Jordan Love to even think about being successful in this game. The defense has to return to that type of excellence that we saw in the first 6 weeks. We might even need a defensive touchdown.
Which is possible because the ball will be turned over. Jordan Love put the ball in harm's way.
Yes, he does. I think he has 11 interceptions on the season.
Yeah, he's one of the leaders, if not the leader.
He has 10 interceptions on the season, at least the league in interceptions. He has 15 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. He's only completing 61% of his passes. That's a little bit below average. As you said, he's looking like Favre.
For the modern age, yeah. Yeah, he's looking like Favre.
That is the hope. The biggest chance the Bears have to go ahead and break this 10 games losing streak to the Packers. Because I don't think we can get it from that stopping the run, something we haven't done all season.
And the Packers actually run the ball well.
Very well. Josh Jacobs, I thought he was donezo. He kind of resurrected his.
And they got a good backup in Emmanuel Wilson as well.
Mm-hmm. I thought Josh Jacobs was donezo, but he's resurrected his career. The Packers are the third best rushing team in the league.
Well, Josh Jacobs was done for my fantasy team last year. He didn't show up at all. Waited 14 weeks for him, and he did nothing.
It's crazy.
Thanks, Josh.
Happens, right?
Should have known he was going to be a future Packer by how he tried to screw me over.
Josh Jacob has 762 yards on the season, 3 touchdowns. He has a 4.8 yards per carry average.
That is surprising part.
That is, because he didn't. Other than the not even the year where he led the league in yards back in Vegas, did he have a carry average that high?
He only averaged about 3.4 yards to carry, 3.5 yards last year. He was running in mud, and he looked slow. I know the Ravens don't have the best offensive scheme or offensive line or run offense. They still struggle creating holes for their running backs this year, but he was outperformed last year by Zamir White, and Zamir White is not a very good performer. Josh didn't have explosion last year, and he looks like he got a little bit more giddy up. And the Packers offensive line, to credit, is a good offensive line. It seems like everybody in the division has decided to focus on building an offensive line to protect the quarterback, create holes for the run game, except for the Bears. But I guess we implement that during game reviews as we do every week.
Mm-hmm. Is this the week that the Bears can have a decent showing against trying to stop the run? Seeing as how the Bears know that it's coming. Pause.
I don't have a lot of faith right now. Your best run stopper on the defensive line is that lost for the season, Cody Billings. You don't really have a big, stout guy there. I mean, you have Javon Dexter. He is a big guy. He's kind of an ideal guy to line up over the nose. He's been playing 3 technique. He's a guy that's 6'6", so he's a tall guy, rangy guy. We don't have a stout guy that plugs the run, and even when we did, we were still struggling. So you see the Bears let the Packers run. Don't give up. Get gashed for the 20-yard plus runs. Don't allow them to average 5 yards per carry. Don't let them on first down or on second down get themselves in a second and short or third and manageable. You know, get some plays where you stop Jacobs behind the line. We're clearly a far cry from the team we were last year. Run defense. Let's just limit them. Let's just not get hurt by their run offense.
And I don't know why we're such a bad run defense this year. The players, they all say that the scheme hasn't changed. The play,
and it's the same players pretty much.
Same players, yeah.
Same players.
Matt Eberflus isn't calling the game any differently. They just said it's an execution problem, which I found to be a little BS. If that's the case, go out there and play. Execute. When are you going to start executing? You can't.
You know what you need to do.
Right. If you know what you need to do, do it. You're going to keep not doing the same thing 9 weeks in a row? It makes no sense.
Speaks volumes about the coaching and accountability.
We need more of that.
Why? What are you not getting through to these guys? Because the talent is there. The talent on the roster is there. So why is it not produced?
Man, I don't know. Jaden Reed, the Packers' number 1 wide receiver, Tucker Kraft. The Packers, he's emerged as a pretty decent option for Jordan Love from the tight end position. Now, for me, I have nightmares. For 2 players, not necessarily quarterbacks, but because they talk the most, so I don't like them. But I have the nightmares from the running backs over the decades of Packer running backs and Packer tight ends. Whether it's Dorsey Levens, Amon Green,
Edgar Bennett. When I was a kid, I don't know how or why, because he came to Chicago and was not good at all. Would run all over us and then do nothing the rest of the year. But Amon Green used to torch us.
Amon Green, he was nothing after he left Green Bay. He was nothing before Green Bay. He was decent in Nebraska. When he got to Green Bay, he became a superhero. And then he left Green Bay. He was like, who is this guy?
After he left Green Bay, I think he was in the NFL for 1 more year. He went to the Texans, right? The guy looked like he was, during his Green Bay run, was it 02? Specifically 02. Probably about from 2002 to 2005. He started getting some injuries, but he looked like he was on a trajectory for the Hall of Fame. I think he had an 1,800-yard season, and he absolutely eviscerated us one Monday night in 2002. And I remember, I think we had those New jerseys, and I think Urlacher caught him from behind and pushed him out of bounds after about a 70-yard run. Yeah, the Packer running backs have done us dirty. Even Packer running backs who weren't good. I know you recall in the early 2000s, or was it the late 90s, the running back, he was a 3rd-string running back. He scored a touchdown on us in Soldier Field and then fanned his his cleats off in the end zone. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
I don't even remember who that guy was. His name escapes me right now, but he had the game of his life and did nothing else.
Mercedes Lewis, Jimmy Graham, Robert Tunyon, Marcellus Bennett.
And all those guys have played for the Bears, and they've done nothing for the Bears that they did against the Bears.
Luke Musgrave. I'm just waiting on the Bears to sign him. Because all these guys are non-household names, but they've had games against the Bears. We cannot let Tucker Kraft add to that list.
Yeah, I remember the Mark Chmura days before he was or was not in the hot tub with the underage. Damon Parker is the one who fanned off his Damon Parker, in case you were looking for that name, or any of the listeners that want to look it up on YouTube, because it's there. The Damon Parker highlight. Yeah, the Mark Chmura days. Who was another Packer tight end that was giving us problems?
Oh my God!
I'm sure it was another one.
Listen, it's too many. That's the problem. We cannot let them add another one. We got to figure this out. We've had a lot of distractions this week, but if you even dream about saving your job, Eberflus, or looking good to the next job, this is the game. You got to show your merit. You got to show your worth this game. And any of the players that's on the bubble, if you are thinking about a raise for when contract negotiations pop up, you got to show now. Not because this is a big game. I mean, obviously that, but because of all the turmoil that was going on leading into this game, you got to show that, yeah, we blocked it out and we did the work. You got to be able to argue that fact. If you can't argue that fact, then you're not going to have the chance to argue that unique fact at any other point this season. This is a crucial point for Eberflus and some of the other bubble guys. Speaking of that, Nate Davis, adios muchachos.
About time. I mean, you feel for a guy who's going through, grieving the loss of loved ones. But at the end of the day, this is a business. You got to play football. That's what your contract that you signed suggests you do. That's what you signed your contract for. Nate Davis is one of the worst acquisitions of the whole era, and every GM misses.
Pryor?
Is Matt Pryor one of the worst acquisitions? No, because not a lot was expected of Pryor. Pryor came in as a backup, and he looked like a backup. And as our brothers on the Colts podcast said, he's not good. I would say Ryan Bates is the worst acquisition because we traded draft capital for him, and he can't stay healthy. And when he is healthy, he's not noticeable except for when he's letting people pressure our quarterback. Chase Claypool, you are allowed a grace for missing as a GM. There's no GM that knocks everything out the ballpark. However, these are huge misses. Nothing out of Claypool for a second round pick. Nate Davis was signed for $30 million. What did we get out of him? A handful of mediocre starts. Ryan Bates was traded for draft capital. What did we get out of him? And now you got to look at Keenan Allen, traded for a fourth round pick. It looks like the guy's been on vacation all year, barely practicing training camp. Looked a step slow all season. Isn't in sync with the quarterback, and then gets open and drops passes. So these misses are adding up. Like I said, every GM is allowed grace. Everybody misses. Kansas City is drafting guys who haven't contributed. Look at Skylar Moore, their second round pick and receiver that they thought was going to be Tyreek Hill-like. But the difference is, Kansas City follows that up with drafting a center like Creed Humphrey, who, man, that guy looks like a stud. Another center available for us, another offensive lineman available. Creed Humphrey is on a fast track to the Hall of Fame. Already an All-Pro. I think he's in his second year, and he's one of the best at his position. So, posed with these huge misses, deeply concerning, deeply troubling.
I was with you until you said you offer grace to GMs for missing. I offer grace for missing when you swing for the fences. If you drafted Caleb Williams and God forbid he turns out to be a bust, I'm okay with that. Because everybody else would have drafted him too.
Everybody drafted him number one. Let's stop before we say Mr. I told you I would have drafted Jaden Daniels. No, you wouldn't have. The Commanders wouldn't have drafted Jaden Daniels if they had the number one pick. Caleb Williams was consensus number one pick. There was no reason to debate. There's no reason to argue. And before it's all said and done, I still think he'll be the best quarterback from this class.
Bear down. I can give you that. I cannot excuse a bad trade the day of, right? Now, some things, you take some time to let it marinate a little bit. Like, okay, that was a bad trade. I knew the second it was reported that we traded a second round pick for Chase Claypool, that is a loser.
You did. And you were never on board with that. Not even close. I can vouch for that.
Abruptly blew up in his face. Nate Davis. It took a while, but after that, midway through last season when he had the issues with practice. In fact, we saw that last training camp.
Well, that was his first year. Yeah, I mean, that was his first year. The red flags were he didn't make it through a second season here. And then the other thing that's concerning is you heard, Vrabel and the Titans were sick of him. This practice happened.
For that same reason, right? You don't practice. Those type of things, like, I cannot give grace for, and there's too many of them. Now you gave away that 2nd-round pick is very valuable right now. That 5th-round pick for Ryan Bates, very valuable right now. Like Tiff said a couple of episodes ago, Ryan Post think he playing 4D chess. Like, hey bro, I need you to just play regular chess. Just go get the goddamn bishop. Do it. Just do that. Stop trying to over process some things. Ryan Bates had no shot of being good. Neither than Matt Pryor, neither than Nate Davis, and damn sure neither than Chase Claypool.
How about Damon Shelton? That's who you brought in to be a starting center. Like this is the guy on the Rams who was what call him?
Damon Shelton.
What is his name?
Coleman Shelton.
Sorry. Yeah, he got 2 last names, and hopefully, as easily as I forgot his name, hopefully I can forget that he was a Bear because it hasn't been good. Anyways, bring in Coleman, you bring in Ryan Bates, you bring in these guys that are journeymen and who are career backups. If Ryan Bates was so coveted, well, I mean, you tried to match Buffalo matched contract last year, just to protect their depth. But you coveted these 2 guys as if they were career professional starters when they were easily discarded and fill-ins. And these guys were made mainstays of your offensive line. Where are we confused at why the offensive line is not performing well? Where are we confused? Post seems to think that maybe he is wise or sees things in offensive line, maybe reflection of himself, his offensive line days that nobody else sees. Go get some blue chip offensive linemen. Stop outsmarting everybody. Stop trading down and taking Darnell Wright and or extending Braxton Jones or what's the other guy? Well, he got hurt. I can't pronounce his last name yet. Tyron, the 3rd-round pick from the Ivy League school. Go get some guys who maul you. Get some Big Ten guys. Go get some Notre Dame guys. Go get offensive linemen from the schools that produce offensive linemen. Get some people from the Midwest that eat steak and potatoes and knock defensive linemen on their asses and who are nasty. I'm tired of this passive play at offensive line and these cerebral players who just getting ran around by the defensive line. Give me some Olin Cruises. Give me some Big Cat Williams. Give me those guys.
You usually hear about a guys that has 2 first names. This guy got 2 last names. That should have been that was a red flag.
Yeah.
The injury report coming into this game. They haven't updated for Friday yet as of recording, but the Bears had 5 players that did not practice on Thursday. That's Montez Sweat. That's Travarius Moore, Tevin Jenkins, Jaquan Brisker. We already know his availability for Sunday. And Kyron Amadeje. Limited in their participation on Thursday was Braxton Jones and Noah Sewell. Also Darrell Taylor and Darnell Wright. Is there any hope that we can at least get 2 of these offensive linemen back?
Darnell Wright and Braxton Jones, for all their flaws, they are huge upgrades over their backups. We definitely need them back. Montez Sweat, I want to say he's not practicing because they're just trying to rest him. You know, he got the chin stepped in. I think they're stepped on. I think they're just trying to preserve him. I think he'll play. Travarius Moore, I think he had a concussion too, which is brought up to practice squad, former 49er. Don't think he is a big loss if he does or doesn't play. He's there for depth. The starter is Elijah Hicks, and behind him is Simone Biles' husband. Sorry, his name eludes. John Owen, sorry. Didn't mean to disrespect him. So if we can get the 2 offensive linemen back, I'm assuming Sweat will play as he did play last week. That would be huge. That would be very important.
For the Packers, on Thursday, they had 6 players with limited participation. That's Jair Alexander, Kenny Clark, Josh Jacobs, Marshawn Lloyd, Josh Myers, and Evan Williams. Full participation they
Kenny
had on
Clark is
Thursday.
giving us promise.
Kenny Clark.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So was Jerry Alexander.
Yeah.
Josh Jacobs too, when we played him a couple of years ago.
Can we get Xavier McKinney on that injury list, please?
Oh well, we can put him on there for next week. He's not visible. Yeah, I hope so too. We'll get into him.
Can he meet Roshan Johnson in the hole, please?
Rashawn got to get his lick back on somebody. Yeah, after week 2. We got to start standing up for ourselves. Full participation for the Packers this Thursday was Jordan Love and Kingsley Engelbear, and did not practice was Kobe Wooden. It looks like they're, for the most part, pretty healthy. You expect that coming out of a bye.
I'm sure Jair will not miss the opportunity to play against Bears.
Yeah, he
loves to play against Bears.
I'm sick of that. I'm sick of Packers loving this week. We got to start changing the flow. And I'm sick of Packers and their mouths leading up to this game. And we ain't fighting.
That's the thing. Somebody hit them in their mouth. Xavier McKinney hasn't been a Packer for 10 games, and he's already dived head first into the rivalry with talking stuff and trying to instigate and being a messy little Bessie.
Messy little Bessie.
What did he say? Xavier McKinney goes on a podcast and says that DJ Moore, to paraphrase, quit on Caleb Williams when he went out of bounds and showed him up, and you never do that. And the thing is, if you go back to the question, nobody asked about Caleb Williams and DJ Moore. He volunteered that information out of left field.
Messy Bessie is the correct term for that. I'm sick of Packers. Stay out of Bears business. The coin a phrase from the former president of baseball operations, Kenny Williams, for the White Sox. Stay out of Bears business. Stay up there in Wisconsin and do whatever Wisconsinites do. Well, future Canadians do. Bear down. The latest edition of the Packers versus Bears this Sunday at Soldier Field. Vegas has the Packers as 5-point faves. Total 40. How you liking this? Now, don't use your Bears hat. Put on your gambling hat.
My gambling hat. I think the Bears show a lot of fight. I would not lay money on the Bears on the money line. If I did anything, I would tease the line. I do think the Bears are a good bet to cover. So, and I think you said the over is 40. I would put some money on the over.
Really?
I would put some. Yeah, I would put some. It's gonna be a nice day, 50 degrees. Not much on the over, but I see this game being somewhere in the vicinity of 20-20, 24-20. I think it's just over.
DraftKings has the total at 40.5, actually. And they actually have the line at 5.5. I locked this in yesterday. They had the total at 38.5. I took the under. I have no faith. My betting hat. The offense has to show me something. And I can definitely believe that this game is neither team is being successful offensively. We talked about Jordan Love and his inconsistency. We talked about ad nauseum the Bears offense and their inability to score touchdowns. 38.5. I like the under on that one. Even though it's going to be a nice day in Chicago, nice day on the lake, I still feel good about a 14,
no
17.
No faith in a change in offensive coordinator for the Bears. Coupled with the Packers coming off the bye in 2 weeks preparation. I don't think either offense can still be successful. Both defenses are pretty good thus far this year.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Shouldn't be too.
I think the other than him being a messy Bessie, I think Xavier McKinley was the best off-season acquisition for anybody in the division.
If we go back to March or late February, I think you were.
Yes, I was.
Yes, you asked for Xavier McKinney, and if Brian Pose would have put his ears on his head and used them, I think he should start listening to us. That would have been a very good battery mate for Jaquan Brisker. Not that Kevin Bird has played pretty good. Kevin Bird has played good, but McKinney is, I believe, 7-8 years younger than him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and a rangier safety and just a better player. And Kevin Bird has played pretty good. He's played pretty. Xavier McKinney looks like he's going to be, not that the Pro Bowl means anything anymore because nobody plays it really. He looks like he's going to be the starting safety, starting free safety for the NFC Pro Bowl team, and he looks like he's going to end up on the first team All-Pro team. Leads the NFL interception with 6, and we're only in the 10th week, and these aren't just fluky interceptions. Like, he tracks the ball well. He does everything you want from a ball hawking safety. He has coverage skills. He has range out there, whether they are in cover 2 or single high. Xavier McKinney, and I hate to rave about a goddamn Packer, but yeah, good call on the Xavier McKinney in the offseason. I just hate that he is a Packer. And I hate that the Giants are a stupid franchise. Why is Daniel Jones still your quarterback and you let blue chip talent like Saquon and Xavier McKinney escape? What a stupid franchise.
Very stupid franchise. They're going to let Brian Daboll escape too.
Bears. He'll be much better. He'll be much better in his next coaching. I mean, think about this. This is the guy that got Daniel Jones and that Giants team to 10 wins in a playoff berth, or was it 9 in a playoff berth a couple of years ago? Now, I don't know who's
didn't they win a playoff game? No, you know what?
I don't recall. They lost it. They lost. It was a close one. They should have won. They lost.
Yeah, I remember.
I believe they lost.
Yeah. Brian Daboll with that type of quarterback, being that.
Look what he did with Josh Allen.
Yeah. I would love to have that type of coaching at Hallis Hall. Just saying.
If go back, can't get Ben Johnson, I wouldn't be too upset at Daboll.
No, definitely not. It'll be cheaper.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think so, because he's got a head coaching experience, so he probably can demand a lot more than somebody. And
I don't think. I know the Giants are bad, but I don't think in NFL circles. Obviously Daboll's stock has dropped a little bit because when you come off 2 consecutive losing seasons, it doesn't matter who you are, stock's going to drop a little bit. But I believe if he's not a Giant next year, if he's in the coaching free agency market, he still would be highly in demand just based on this with Josh Allen. I mean, he really developed that guy, and he gets the credit for development of Josh Allen in Buffalo. Make no mistake about it.
Indeed. So to spin the block on that, what you said about the new coaching, new offensive direction for the Bears, that's why I am taking the Bears plus 5.5. Not because I'm a Bear fan and I'm watching this game with bear colored goggles. You've seen it time and time again in the NFL. New coach, new boost for the players. I don't know why it is. We just saw it 2 weeks, well, a week or so ago.
Well, we saw it this weekend. Yeah.
They had lost 7 straight games. Rudderless ship. They fired a coach. New coach comes in, win against their rival.
And a team that's played much better football with them. Even the Jets got a slight boost when Aaron Rodgers threw Sailor under the belt. Now they've returned back to being the Jets. But did they not have a 2-game win streak?
I don't know about 2 because they only got 3 wins total.
Aaron.
So yeah, that's why I would take the Bears plus 5.5. I'm going to stick with my under. I like this game being in a 17-10, 17-14 type of. I don't think either team scores 20. 17.
Nothing fun to watch then.
Like yeah. I mean, as long as the Bears win, I'll take
No,
that.
no, no, no for Caleb Williams 3 tutty game.
You know what?
I'd like to see the kid bounce back.
I would gladly take the losing that under if the Caleb can go out there and hang three on them boys. He would gain so much good favor in Chicago with the Bears fan base by doing the unthinkable, breaking this losing streak and beating them bum ass dudes from Wisconsin.
Man, if the first time you see Green Bay, you beat them, Caleb, all is forgiven. And you better get off his back. And talking about you quote unquote Bears fans who have been rooting for this kid to fail since before he even was drafted by the Bears. You know who you are.
Yeah, you do. You're Tyson Badgett fan base, Justin Fields fan base. Toxic, just toxic. And you know what? For bonus points, Caleb, go out there and do discount double check after every touchdown.
Oh, please. And please rub it in their faces.
Tell them this is your house. New owners in the building. Bear down.
Bear down. Bear claws up.
I'm with that. GBPK. Thanks for listening to this latest edition from the Frustrated Chicago Sports Fan channel. Whether you listen to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or watching on YouTube, make sure you like, subscribe, share with a friend, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a drop. And all my homies from Chicago, we say 3 things. Bear down, go Cubs go, and sell the team, Jerry.